Havasu Falls, located in the western part of the Grand Canyon on the Havasupai Indian Reservation, is probably one of the most Instagrammable sites in the world. This beautiful 90 to 100 foot waterfall drops into a pool of blue-green water that's caused by the calcium carbonate deposits and the reflection of the silt from the small particles of the water. The blue water contrasts against the red travertine background of the rocks, which kind of drape down due to erosion from the Havasu Creek over the years. Hi, we're Brian and Jessica, and welcome to our channel, This Fantastic Life. This channel is about our van life travels and our Dodge ProMaster conversion van, which we bought in 2019. We're in our late 50s now. Jessica retired 2 years ago at age 55, and I just retired 2 weeks ago at age 57. And we're off and about on a 6 to 8 week adventure in our van, caravanning across the United States and even into the Rocky Mountains of Canada. In today's episode, we're going to talk to you about Havasu Falls and our 4-day, 3-night backpacking adventure there. Havasu Falls is located on the Havasupai Indian Reservation. This is not part of the Grand Canyon National Park. The Havasupai tribe has lived here for thousands of years, and there's a good book called I Am the Grand Canyon by Stephen Hurst, which describes their struggles with the federal government over possession of their native land. I'm going to talk to you about the good and the bad and how to plan for a trip to Havasu Falls, what to expect, and I'll give you a complete rundown on all the details of both Instagram and reality. Havasu Falls edition. To visit Havasu Falls, you will first have to register on the Havasupai Indian Reservation website. On February 1st, they hold a lottery to allow you to sign up for a backpacking trip for 4 days and 3 nights. You can either camp at the campground for $455 per person, or you can stay in the lodge for $2,277 for 4 people. Mules can be rented to carry your bags to and from the canyon round trip for $400 for up to 4 bags. If you choose the mule option, you'll have tags that you can leave on your luggage at the Havasupai Hilltop parking area, and they'll pick up your bags later at mile 9 down in the canyon past the Supai village. Your journey to Havasu Falls will begin at the Grand Canyon Caverns Inn, located near Peach Springs, Arizona. Here you'll have to check in and get your wristbands. I would plan to arrive at the Havasupai trailhead early as possible. Some people arrive around 4 o'clock in the morning to beat the heat of the day. The parking lot also fills up, and you don't want to be parking along the sides of the road where rock slides could come and cause damage to your vehicle. Day 1 of our Havasu Falls adventure, we got up at the Grand Canyon Caverns Inn in Peach Springs, Arizona at 3:30 in the morning, and then loaded up our van and drove about an hour and a half in the dark to the hilltop where the trailhead is to hike to Havasu Falls. We were lucky to get one of the last parking spaces in the actual parking lot there, so we didn't have to park along the side of the road. And then we began our hike around 6 o'clock in the morning. The hike itself was actually quite pleasant. At that hour of the day, it was still pretty cool, and for most of our hike, we were in the shade yet of the canyon. For the first mile and a half, you descend a series of switchbacks down to the bottom of the canyon, and then you follow like a wash along the way. We stopped at mile marker 3 to have a nice little snack, and then again we stopped at mile marker 6. Around mile marker 7, you enter the Havasupai Reservation, and you can soon begin to hear a bunch of dogs barking in the distance. And then at mile 8, you are entering the village of Supai itself, where you have to turn your cameras off. You can't film in the village itself. The village is quite small. There's a gift shop there and an information area, a hospital, a school, well, not a hospital, a medical center and a school, and then a bunch of houses and farms. It's about a mile hike from when you begin to enter the village until the end of the village at mile 9. And here it was pretty hot, and we were in the sun for that mile. It was a bit strenuous. And then from mile 9 to mile 10 was the same. At mile 10 is the entrance to the campground area. Hey, here we are coming into the campground. There's the first set of bathrooms. So we had our bags dropped off at the hilltop right when we arrived at 6 o'clock. And then they didn't show up until about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They were supposed to get there around 2:30. And so I went up and I waited and waited and waited and waited for all that time. And there were some other friends of mine that I met there that were also waiting for their bags. And ours was the last mule train to arrive. And in fact, our 2 bags were on the very last mule that they unloaded. So this was around, 5:30 in the afternoon. I get those bags. I load them up on each shoulder. So 35 pounds on each shoulder in our duffel bags. And I hiked 0.2 miles downhill from there past Havasu Falls to our campsite with them all by myself. So just before you get to the campground area, you're going to be passing 3 waterfalls. So the first one that you can see is 50-foot falls. And then you follow that a little longer. Downstream is Little Navajo Falls. And then right before the entrance to the campground is the gem, Havasu Falls. And so we're arriving around lunchtime, I guess. And looking for a site along the river here. There are 3 bathrooms in the campground, and we're right across from the first bathroom, probably the second tent site in. There's a picnic table there. It was tucked back into the woods a little bit, so it wasn't on the main path like some of the others were, but it also wasn't along the creek where there are some really beautiful sites. We figured we could always get up early in the morning on the next day if we didn't like our site and go find a new one as people are leaving for the day to go back home. But we liked our site. It was nice and quiet. It was close to the bathrooms. It was a really short walk to the spring, and it was nice to be able to go to Havasu Falls back and forth pretty quickly without having to walk all the way through the campsite. Okay. So day 2 of our Havasu Falls adventure, we slept in a little bit, trying to recover from the 12-mile hike in, and then we got up and had some breakfast, some bagels, and decided to head back toward the village to go see 50-foot falls and Little Navajo Falls. Along the way, we encountered some of our friends that we had met at the fry bread stand the day before, and we followed them to 50-foot falls. We would have never found it without them. When you reach this stone, this is the junction point to go to Navajo and 50-foot falls. Well, this trail around, Navajo goes down, 50-foot goes to the left. So if you went to the left of the rock, then look a little farther up the trail for this arrow to 50-foot falls. Here's the trail down to 50-foot. A sign in the jungle for 50-foot trail. And then you have to do a little bit of rock scrambling through the water. After spending some time at 50-foot falls, then we followed our friends to Little Navajo Falls, which wasn't very far downstream. And let me tell you, Little Navajo Falls is absolutely stunning. You can see from the video and the photos here that this is probably one of the best waterfalls here on the Havasupai Indian Reservation. We really enjoyed wading in the water there and posing for pictures and just relaxing in the cool water on a hot afternoon. Short distance out to Havasu Falls in the late afternoon sun. So between maybe 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we get that beautiful lighting on the red travertine rocks that are behind the waterfall. And you have nice crystal clear blue waters at the base, and it's great. You can go out onto the island there, and you can wade in the water, you can just people watch. Had a nice, fun, relaxing afternoon at the falls. Well, it's day 3 of our Havasu Falls adventure, and I want to give you a little dose of reality versus Instagram. So today's goal was to hike a mile through the camp to the top of Mooney Falls, and then at Mooney Falls you go through these 2 little tunnels of travertine, and then you get to the top of the falls where there's a bunch of chains and there's mist and it's wet, and you have to hold on to these chains and work your way down the side of the falls. And at the very bottom of the falls there's some ladders, and then you can get to the base of Mooney Falls and hike another 3 miles out to Beaver Falls, which is absolutely supposed to be spectacularly beautiful. So that was the goal, and well, we chickened out. We got through the tunnels at Mooney Falls and it just wasn't our day. Yeah, so I'm back here in the camp and we chickened out at Mooney Falls. I'm really disappointed in my body that it wouldn't allow me to go down the chains there. But this happens as you get older, so sometimes you just have to trust your instincts and don't take unnecessary risks. Although we didn't make it down Mooney Falls and then another 3-mile hike out to the beautiful cascades of Beaver Falls and back again, we did have some friends who shot some video and pictures there so you can see what it looks like. So we didn't waste the rest of the day. We went back up to Little Navajo Falls, where I enjoyed going underneath the waterfalls and swimming in the terraces, and then we went over to Havasu Falls and cooled off in the afternoon heat. So on day 4 of our Havasu Falls adventure, we have to get up really early in the morning because we have to have our bags dropped at the mule drop-off place, which is at the top of the hill here above Havasu Falls, near past the fry bread stand. We have to have our bags dropped there by 7 a.m. so that the mules will be able to pack them out for us. And then we're going to head into the village and hop in the line to hopefully take the helicopter. If you pay an extra $100 per person, you can ride the helicopter. It's about a 7-minute ride back to the hilltop. So on day 4, we get up at 3:20 in the morning and packed up our tent, walked with our backpacks all the way up the top of the hilltop and across the bridge, dropped off our luggage at the mule pickup, and then we walked back into Havasupai village. We arrived there around 5:10 in the morning, and we were number 9 on the list to take the helicopters. We wound up waiting until about 2:10 in the afternoon, about 9 hours. So by now you might be wondering whether or not the trip was worth it or not. It did cost us about $1,500. However, if you realize that this is the main source of income for the Havasupai tribe, and that the federal government has taken their land away over the years, this is actually quite a bargain. I just wanted to give you the real scoop. It's not just all Instagram worthy photos. There is a lot of hard hiking involved. There are a lot of people that you have to deal with that are also crowded there. They let in 100 people per day. It means with 3 nights for each camper, that's a minimum of 300 people in the Havasupai area around these 5 waterfalls at any given time. Also, you have to remember that you're operating on Havasupai time, which means that the fry bread stand may or may not be open when it says it's going to be open, and that the mules may or may not arrive with your packs when they say they're supposed to be there, and that you might have to wait for hours and hours for the helicopter if you're going to take that on your way back out. So was it worth it? Absolutely. Paradise on earth. This is one of the most scenic places I've ever seen in the entire country. Well, if you made it this far, thanks for your support of our channel. I hope you enjoyed this video on Havasu Falls, Instagram versus reality. Please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for future updates on our travels throughout the summer. Thanks and happy travels.